What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy Akiri, back in Standard with a deck that I had built originally during the Early Access event. And finally are kind of revisiting it with some changes. Mostly it's pretty much the same, but made some a few changes here. Obviously we got more of a sideboard here. And yeah, so we're going to go over that real quick. So we got 3 copies of Selfless Savior. Obviously works really well against any kind of removal heavy deck, so we can protect our equipped creatures, since that's obviously the theme of the deck. 2 copies of Spikefield Hazard gives us some early interaction, since most of our important creatures don't really start until turn 2, so we can kind of keep our opponent off of their 1-drop threats. There's plenty of 1 toughness creatures you might want to deal with, Lowest Cobras and things like that. 2 copies of Shadowspear, just a really powerful equipment here, just 1 to cast it, and then 2 to equip it, +1/+1, trample, lifelink, pretty fantastic. 4 copies of Kor Blademaster, 1/1 double striker, gives our equipped warriors double strike as well. 4 Seasoned Hallowblade, just kind of an all-star in an equipment list, being able to discard cards to give it indestructible until end of turn. And since we're pretty aggressive list, we don't really need too many lands, and even in multiples, you don't necessarily want multiple Seasoned Hallowblades out, so you can discard your second one, just keep this one around, not having to worry about discarding to multiple Hallowblades, things like that. 2 copies of Sejiri Shelter, another way for us to kind of get protection on our equipped creatures, and also a land as well. 2 copies of Kargan Intimidator. It is a good card, but I feel like other things are just a little bit better, so just 2 copies. You could try to squeeze a 3rd copy in. I'm not quite sure we need all 4. Obviously, it is a pretty solid card, but it is kind of depends on the matchup sometimes. But yeah, 2 mana 3/1 that potentially make itself and other warriors unblockable, or +1/+1 and trample. It's pretty good. Or yeah, well, those are separate effects, just to be clear. +1/+1, you have to pay 1, and you have to pay 1 for the trample. 4 copies of Scavenged Blade, just trying to maximize the number of good equipments we can play. And yeah, it doesn't give a toughness boost, which kind of sucks. A lot of our creatures have 1 toughness, but as long as you have a Kor Blademaster out, I mean, poof, the extra power on double strike, that's pretty much all you need against the most matchups. Just 2 to cast it, and it gets equipped to creature right away, and then 3 more to equip it later on. 4 copies of Relic Axe, another 2 mana artifact. Equipment that again attaches to a creature you control. All of our creatures are warriors, well, except for the Selfless Savior. So all our creatures will get +2/+1, so to get a little bit of a toughness boost. That helps. It's pretty nice. And the Selfless Savior would just be a +1/+1. We'd have the Dalakos as well. We're about to get to Maul, the Skyclaves. Just one of the most. Basically, it's the best equipment you can be doing in Standard right now. Outside of Embercleave, this is definitely super powerful. 3 mana, +2/+2, flying first strike. Just super amazing card. Dalakos here, just 2 copies. We're literally just splashing blue for Dalakos. So Dalakos, pretty cool card that we got in Theros Beyond Death, but just has seen like 0 play because we haven't really gotten the equipment support. Maybe in Historic you can kind of play around with this some, but obviously in Standard it just hasn't really had the support we need. But now, thanks to Zendikar Rising, we got a ton of equipment support. Although there's so much removal, it kind of makes it a little bit difficult to pull off a competitive equipment list, which is why we haven't really seen a ton of these, even though we have these amazing equipments that just come straight attached to creatures. Because typically all equipments before Zendikar basically just came down. You have to pay the casting cost to cast them, then you have to pay the cost to equip them, which is usually pretty similar, though it kind of varied, obviously. But now having just pay 3 mana and just have a way to equip your creature, and that you can just keep it around. Now I can aura or something like that, just so much better. Akiri here, 3 copies. Could maybe be right to go down to 2 and then maybe fit the 3rd Kargan Intimidator here. But I feel like the card draw, since we are pretty aggressive deck, just trying to play out our creatures, get our equipments on them, trying to draw those extra cards just to kind of help us close out some games. I feel like that's pretty important, so that's why I'm running 3 copies. But maybe 2 is the right number. It is legendary, of course, so I don't necessarily want to run like 4, obviously. But yeah, it's a pretty solid card here. 3 mana, 3/3. Whenever we attack with an equipped creature, we have to draw a card. 1 or more equipped creatures. So if we have 5 creatures attacking, we just get to draw 1 single card. We don't get to draw 1 card for each equipped creature, unfortunately. But still, drawing a card is pretty good. And we can pay white to remove an enchantment, an equipment from a creature control to give it indestructible and tap that creature. So it's basically like a activated 1 mana activated ability like the Hallowblade, kind of the same thing. This makes us discard. This makes us unequip and pay white mana. 2 copies here of Nahiri, just kind of giving us a little more resiliency, some card draw here, looking at the -2 to look at top 6 cards, reveal warrior or equipment from among them, and we're pretty heavy on warriors and equipment, so shouldn't be too hard to find something out of the top 6. And we can +1 just to make a 1/1 token with equipment that gets to be attached straight to it. 3 copies of Embercleave, because this is the best equipment in Standard. Obviously, super crazy card here. Alright, mana base here. We got 3 plains, 2 mountain, 4 Riverglide Pathways, 4 Needleverge Pathways, 2 Temple Triumph, and 4 of the Triomes. So basically we have the 4 Triomes and the 4 Riverglide Pathways as our only sources of blue mana, since we do just have the 2 copies of Dalakos. Not something we have to play on curve or anything like that. If it works out that way, that's fine, but you know, we have so many other things we can be doing that don't necessarily need to prioritize blue mana. And you know, with 4 Triomes and the 4 Riverglide Pathways, we'll eventually draw into one of them. And get a blue source down. Sideboard here, we can take advantage of that blue mana a little bit more with 2 copies of Miscast to protect us from spot removal and board sweepers. 2 copies of Disenchant to hit our opponent's equipment. You know, obviously Embercleaves and things like that. 4 Scorching Dragonfires to help us out with the aggro matchup. You know, rogues are just kind of everywhere. 4 copies of Banishing Light, just giving us some kind of utility removal. 2 copies of Shatterskull Charger against the you know, control decks, having this come down on turn 3, hit for 4, bounce back to our hand, dodging their sweepers and things like that. 1 copy of Mythos of Vadrok can help us out with Scoot Swarm in particular, but kind of a lot of other matchups that could be relevant as well. We are in Jeskai color, so we can get the full effect of until your next one. Those permanents can't attack or block, and their activated abilities can't be activated by dealing 5 damage divided as you choose among any number of creatures and or planeswalkers. So sometimes just making your opponent not be able to block your things and then just crashing through with your equipped warriors can be enough to close out some games. So that could be helpful in kind of a mirror type match, or otherwise any situation you might get into a board stall. Alright, that's the updated version. We'll jump into some matches. Alright, against Marabou 1789. Get to go first. Perfect. And deck is trolling us. Double Embercleave. Come on, man. Ah, boy. Plains. Put you on red in case we need to spike something here. Alright, it's the red mana source. That's not ideal. Well, play Hallowblade. What do you got? Well, they didn't seem to have anything there for 1 mana, so that's good. Depending on what they play here, we might just run out this Spikefield Hazard as a land. And play probably the Blademaster. I think we want 2 of these. They make us discard, and they get to filter one of their cards. Temple of Triumph. Alright, we'll Temple here. This guy's a little bit better than just running out any old tap land. We're empty-handed here, so we'll go ahead and drop. Keep the Nahiri on top, and then if we need to discard, we can throw away the Spikefield Hazard. They haven't presented any creatures that we necessarily care about. They're just the heart is just full of hate. All the removal spells. So we're pretty well set up with these lands, so we can play as a blue source if we do find our Dalakos. We'll dig for an equipment. Okay. Well, Hallowblade at least gives us some discard fodder to the other Hallowblade that's in play. She is at 2 toughness, so we are have to worry about Stomp or Shock or anything like that. But they've been pretty aggressive trying to deal with our creatures, so... Alright, well, they got Royal Eruption, so they just got all the burn spells over there. Oh my goodness, there we go. I knew you wouldn't let me down, deck. Exactly lethal. Ooh. Alright, so we got a hateful deck over there. Shadowspear is nice, but if we can't actually get value off of it, then yeah. Shave off 2 of these, bring in the Shatterskull Charger. Just give us a little bit more threats. Obviously, the Hallowblade was kind of what saved us there. Just the card is just so good. And these opening hands are not very good at all, though. Oh, we were able to win game 1 without a reasonable hand, so no blue, so we can drop off Dalakos. It's nice, but sometimes it's just kind of cute. Right, so I don't have any threats, or at least they don't present any. Yeah, we'll just play this as a land. With Akiri, you can play that on curve, so we'll just go Intimidator into Akiri, I guess. They probably just kill both of them. So maybe, well, maybe we could do the Intimidator and Savior on turn 3. Might be better than just running out an Intimidator here just to have it die. Let's have it stick around for a turn. Make him use multiple kill spells. Okay, was not expecting that. Not expecting that at all. You got me, opponent. You fooled me. Alright, Selfless Savior. Kargan Intimidator. Pass. Alright, I was going to attack. We're not blocking here. We'll take 2. Oh, you're looking at the creatures. No, you can't have my Selfless Savior. Why would you even target? So I think we'll run out the Akiri and the Savior and pass. Not quite sure I understand that. I guess they were 1 mana short of being able to target our Intimidator. I'm not sure why they thought it was worth going after the Savior. Maybe they just wanted to see if we'd sacrifice there or let them have a 1/1. They could keep their creatures alive, but we're not running a ton of removal because we're the aggressor. Forcing us to use our saviors. That's 2. We have 1 more in the deck, so probably not going to see it. No idea what all these tokens are about. Well, we got Indestructible on the Akiri, so we can easily pick one of them off. There's a Triome. We just +1 here. We want to cycle that. Maybe we should just cycle that. We don't have a blue source though. Just swing Akiri. We got Nahiri, so we'll play the Triome. Might have been better to cycle it there. Definitely trade a token for a token here. They want to swing at Nahiri here. Down to 2 cards, so we've definitely exhausted some of their resources. Although we're kind of in top deck mode as well, and kind of flooding out in a very creature-heavy list. Yeah, you can get me for 1. Take out one of your tokens. All the lands. We'll minus here. Blademaster is really good too, but we don't have any equipments in play, so I'd like to definitely would like to do that. We don't have any. There's a Blademaster. We don't have a Hallowblade in place, so I think we're fine with playing out some of our lands, but maybe we'll keep this plains now in case we do draw into one. I could have activated there just to give us another one to Fairy. Yikes. So they can phase out our Intimidator here. They don't have good attacks though. Hallowblade is not bad. Well, just making a 1/1 blocker here, protecting our Nahiri. Decline. I think we'll actually swing all at Teferi here, force them to do some stuff. Alright, so we give a Warrior Trample. Well, could have given both Trample since we don't really have anything else to do with our mana. Oh, double block. No, it's a Warrior. Cowards can't block Warriors. Right? What? Cowards? Oh, it phased out, so it doesn't count. Yeah. Yeah. Alright. We do get the Teferi off the board. Didn't necessarily want to lose our Akiri there. But their board is empty now. No planeswalkers, no creatures. Alright, we got there. Guess they didn't have anything good enough in play. We were pretty good board there with them in top deck mode, so. Up against Mr. Pastis. Gotta go first, just the way we like it. Lots of 2-drops and equipment. Right, lead on Triome, and then we'll gotta figure out what we want to do. Probably save the Blademaster, but either do the Hallowblade or Intimidator. Also like to find a third land to play Maul, but even if we stuck on 2 lands, we have no shortage of plays. Well, with the Hallowblade, probably want to keep at least something in hand. Maybe one of these Blademasters. We'll see what we're up. See what we're up against. Could just be removable.deck. So we'll throw the Intimidator out there as potential cannon fodder, kind of test the waters. And then follow up with a Hallowblade, and then we can kind of discard accordingly. And hopefully find another land to get the Maul, the Skyclaves down on our Hallowblade, and then hopefully resolve one of these Blademasters to give our Hallowblade double strike with the Maul on top of it, and sail to victory. That's the plan. Oh, Jeskai. Alright, play this as a White Sword, so we already have a Mountain. We'll drop our Hallowblade. Well, if they tap out here, it might be interesting to Maul on the Intimidator. I mean, Jeskai, most likely it's a control, yep. Birth of Melitis. So Hallowblade works pretty well against them. Give it +1. Swing 4. Play a Hallowblade. Discard a Blademaster if we have to. They do get a 0/4 wall, but we get the Maul of the Skyclaves hopefully next turn. And find another land. We can Scavenged Blade and Blademaster. We'll find an untap land next turn. We could be tempting as well. Oh, Wizards. Not what I was expecting. Well, that's cool. I don't think we're going to get any value off the other side of that, so we're going to drop our Maul of the Skyclaves. And we're going to swing 5 in the air. They can block it with their Mystic if they want. Just posted my wizard deck the other day, so I'm curious to see what they're doing in Jeskai. I just went straight Izzet with mine, trying to keep things simple. I don't see Birth of Meletis. Definitely not something I would run in a wizard's list, but discard one of these Blademasters. They do get the Umara Mystic trigger. And if they have another removal spell, then not sure what we discard here. Okay, apparently they don't know how Seasoned Hallowblade works. This is ranked gameplay, so if you're going to be up in if you're up in Platinum, you should probably know how Seasoned Hallowblade works. Although, to be fair, equipments haven't seen a ton of play. They have not seen a ton of play. Alright, so Birth of Melt, I mean, they conceded before we really knew what they were up to, so that's kind of interesting. I'm guessing they're more of a Jeskai mid-range, and the Mystic is there just to take advantage of their removal. So I should take out the Shadowspears, bring in a couple of Dragonfires to hit their Mystic. Let's bring in a couple Miscast as well, some little protection with the counter magic. And if they are more creature heavy, we can consider bringing in more Dragonfires, maybe some Banishing Lights. And they could be running Narset if they're in Jeskai, doing some kind of a mid-range thing. Not really sure. Birth of Meletis and Umara Mystic are kind of throwing me off a little bit. Not cards I would really expect to synergize. Missing white mana, so I don't think we can keep this. A little bit better. Relic Axe is nice, but I don't think we can keep it. Just need a third land here to Maul plus Akiri. We'll lead on play and see what we draw before we play out this pathway. Even without a Dalakos in hand, we probably just want to play this on red anyway. Oh, there's a Triome, that's interesting. I think we'll just follow that same plan here. Run out the Intimidator for some fodder and get some removal out of their hand. I mean, if we discard it anyway. Anti-cognition. Okay, you got me. You got me, opponent. Okay, no counter there. Played our land. Alright, double Maul is pretty good. Umara Mystic tells me they're not running Banishing Light, but if they're running Birth of Meletis, then who knows, right? Anti-cognition. Okay, there's the Banishing Light. Very unusual deck. We'll just run out another one, see if they have more enchantment removal. I do have Nahiri, which could help in this matchup. So 4 cards in hand. They get a Scry here as well. Bottom. You have another Banishing Light here in your Umara Mystic deck. Cool. Alright, Akiri, come on down. You have 1 mana open. What are you holding priority on? Red cap melee. Alright, well, our opponent has all removal here. All removal. 2 mana open. You're going to counter my Nahiri. Oh my goodness. What is this deck? I mean, they're down to 1 card in hand. Tazri. Okay, you're a Jeskai party deck. Okay. Cool. I'm not sure running out the Triome was worth it there when you're in top deck mode. Pretty frustrating. Shoot off one Embercleave. I mean, that much removal, it's going to be hard to fight through. Obviously, our equipment's not as good. We know they're running the Mystic. They've seen it every game, so I'm assuming they're running 3 or 4. So probably still want to leave these Dragonfires in. Let's bring all the Banishing Lights. Disenchant could be good as well. Alright, there we go. So we know they're running Banishing Lights. Now we see the Tazri, so it looks like they're just a Jeskai party deck, but just one other creature. Sure. Gotta go first. Alright. I'll try to play Akiri on 3, I guess. What we've seen, though, they probably have answers for it. But if they tap out just to play a creature of their own, then we could potentially try to protect it. We have some protection, obviously, from removal, but if your opponent just running all removal, it's definitely hard to keep up. That's part of the reason why these decks just don't really see a lot of play. Spikefield Hazard, not really doing a whole lot in this matchup, so we'll play it as a land. Nothing else to do here on 2. With a Miscast in hand and a Triome, I think we'll wait one more turn. We can Akiri plus leave open Miscast, and then from there try to hold open Shelter. Although I do want to get this Maul of the Skyclaves down, though. Alright, perfect. Leaving blue mana open. We have Disenchant, which also can pick off the Pack Beast. They're missing blue mana, so they can't counter anything, which is good. Yeah, just not understanding what our opponent is up to. That they're playing party, but they don't really seem to have any anything else to do. Alright, well, they do get the counter spell out of our hand. Draw a card. Hit them for 5, and we do have Selfless Saviors, but I think I'll want to keep the Sejiri Shelter in hand as well. I'm sure they kill our Akiri here, Banishing Light. So Pack Beast kind of fixing their mana, allowing them to cast the counter spell, even though they don't have any blue mana sources in play. They're getting full value off of that. I just don't understand what our opponent is doing, that they don't have any... They're Jeskai Clerics, but this is the first time we've seen a Pack Beast. We've seen one Mystic each game, and then we finally saw a Tazri in that last game. Like, you need lots of creatures to run party, so your Jeskai control with, like, 5 party creatures? Like, what are you doing, dude? And that's the hard thing with party, and why it's kind of hard to make a viable party deck, is just you have to run so many... Yeah, 4 creature types you have to meet. And you have to play enough of them so you can see them consistently. So it's hard to pull off, especially while playing removal and things like that. But I'm sure by the time we get to D&D next year, we'll have some pretty busted things, because, you know, power creep is what it is, and they'll assume the D&D seems like it'll be the party set. We'll get some really stupid, like, rares and mythics that just do crazy things that we'll have to ban them like a couple weeks later. But we'll see. Okay, opponent timed out. I'm not sure what that is all about. We'll get the Selfless Savior down. We have the Sejiri Shelter as well. So we'll just play one Savior. And then next turn try to Embercleave maybe and kill them. I'm not sure if our opponent has timed out or if they've given up because they're stuck on lands. Alright, resolves. Gonna draw a card. Dalakos is cool. So we got two different ways to protect our Akiri here. And she's doing a fabulous job of drawing us cards. Not necessarily cards we need right now, but she's helping us dig through our deck so we can eventually get to some stuff. And our opponent's not really doing anything, so we're just going to try to chip away with this Akiri. Try to kill him next turn with an Embercleave, maybe. Ideally, they'll just tap out and try to kill our Akiri, or do something that doesn't really doesn't otherwise stop our Akiri, and then we can just kill him in the air. You know, if you're... Don't be salty at me because you're missing land drops or you kept a bad hand. Like, if you don't have anything, then just pass the turn, dude. Don't just sit there and rope. Oh my goodness. Online play, am I right? Alright, so that was Jeskai Equipments in Platinum rank there, getting us to the Platinum 3. Back to Platinum 3. Alright. So yeah, obviously not super competitive, but you know, can do okay on the ladder. It's going to struggle against removal heavy decks, which there's no shortage of removal. Especially with all of our creatures being, you know, 1 toughness, that makes things pretty difficult as well, especially if your opponent is running lots of creatures of their own. It can be difficult to kind of get through that. Obviously, the equipments help out quite a bit. Maul the Skyclaves in particular is an all-star. You know, Embercleave, we've all seen what that can do. That can just kind of help you win games. Essentially by itself. Obviously, you need creatures out, but even just one creature with an Embercleave on it is usually just good enough to win you a lot of games. Nahiri is pretty sweet. You know, obviously these end-of-card Planeswalkers aren't super amazing, but I feel like Nahiri still has a slot in this deck, and as we continue to get equipments in future sets, because they always have some equipments, Nahiri will probably just continue to get better with each set here. And yeah, Dalakos is a little bit cute, but definitely adds a different dimension to the deck, giving your... obviously Maul gives your creatures flying, but Dalakos gives it flying with any equipment, so your Scavenged Blade, Relic Axe, Shadowspear, another way to give your creatures flying, and there's not a ton of flying in the set. Obviously Tear of the Peaks sees a fair amount of play. There's some Azorius Flyers list floating around out there, but nowhere near like what we saw before rotation. And even then, those decks weren't super popular or prevalent. And yeah, you kind of tweak with some of these numbers, but overall I feel like I feel pretty good about where the ratios are. I mean, we're an equipment deck, so we need to kind of maximize the number of equipments we're running. Definitely Relic Axe over Scavenged Blade if you want to try to trim something off. Maybe the Scavenged Blade, trim a couple copies off. But, you know, with Akiri and Nahiri, you still want to, and Dalakos, you definitely want to maximize the number of equipments you're running. So we're running all of these. And I also made some room for some Shadowspear as well, because it is one of the better equipments. And of course, Embercleave is, it's Embercleave. Selfless Savior is kind of a must to protect your creatures that are equipped. Hallowblade is an all-star, just kind of protect itself. Obviously, if your opponent is smart about it, they can do it on your combat step, and so you don't actually get the attack trigger. But you know, if your opponent's running, you know, sorcerer speed removal, which, you know, Thunder and Rebuke and things like that are sorcerer speed, then this definitely helps you out with that. It kind of depends on what you're up against. Sejiri Shelter, not really super sold on this card. I keep trying to run it, but you know, we had it available to us in that last matchup. I didn't actually get to see if it was worthwhile or not, but we did have it in hand, so it did give us that a little bit of confidence to kind of know that if our opponent did try to kill our Akiri there, we could protect it with either the Shelter or the Selfless Savior. So that was pretty good. And then Blademaster, like once you get your other creatures down, that's pretty insane. With giving your creatures double strike, you'll often close out games very quickly. So best thing to do is to kind of get your other creatures down first, get some equipments on them, and then your opponent might not block appropriately because they just think, oh, I can survive one more turn. And then you drop the Blademaster, and your Hallowblade all of a sudden has double strike with the Maul, the Skyclaves on it, and oops, your opponent's dead. So yeah, pretty fun thing to do. Sideboard, not entirely sold on the sideboard. Definitely been kind of, it's been kind of a process with evolving it. I do like the Scorching Dragonfires because rogues are just like going to be everywhere until they rotate. Disenchant, since we're running equipments, there's a good chance we'll be coming up against other equipment decks. So this gives us a game against Embercleave and any of their enchantments as well. The two copies of Miscast are a little bit cute, but since we are splashing blue, it gives us a little bit different dimension to kind of protect ourselves from removal and sweepers in particular. And the Banishing Light, just kind of some utility removal. Kind of played around some different cards here, Soul Seer, things like that. But just Banishing Light just hits everything. So you have to worry about how much power or toughness it has, or loyalty counters and everything like that. You just boom, exile it and just be done with it. Assuming your opponent doesn't have a way to deal with your Banishing Light. But if they focus on your Banishing Light and not your creatures on board, then that's actually not so bad for you as well. Shatterskull Charger, really love this card. Don't quite feel like it has a fit in the main deck because with our equipment theme, it doesn't really make sense because we have to wait until turn 5 to actually cast this to where it's going to stay on the battlefield. Since we don't have any other counter synergy ways of putting counters on this. So most likely you're just going to play this on 3, have it come down as a 4/3 Trample Haste, and then just bounces back to your hand. But in the right matchup, this can be pretty amazing, and just a solid card all around, and it does fit our warrior theme as well. If you do get to a grindier matchup, you can get this down on 3, then have it bounce back to your hand. Eventually you'll get to 5 mana, you can play it, maybe your opponent's in top deck mode, they don't have their removal, and then you have all the Skyclaves or some equipment out, and then you can attach it, and that can be pretty powerful right there. And then the Mythos of Vadrok, just as a one-of, it's a little bit cute, but it does help us get through, since a lot of our creatures do have the one toughness. It's a way for us to kind of get through for damage, having all of our creatures, your opponent creatures unable to block, I should say. Also, as a way to deal with like Scoot Swarms and things like that, being able to divvy up 5 damage however you choose. And if you do get the Jeskai colors to cast it with, since we are obviously playing all three of those colors, and potentially get the upside where your opponent can't activate their Planeswalker, or they can't attack or block with those creatures for a turn at least. So that could be good enough in what's essentially trying to be an aggressive deck. So yeah, sideboard could be tweaked a little bit here and there, but I feel this is a pretty reasonable place to start. Obviously standard, since all the bans has been evolving quite a bit, but just trying to play as many flexible cards as we can. The Dragonfire seems like the 3 toughness hits most aggressive decks. Especially at instant speed for the rogues that have so much flash and things like that. But maybe you want some rebukes here. Maybe 2 rebukes, 2 Dragonfires. I don't know. And then the Banishing Light's just the utility removal, but this could be whatever else. Sometimes Banishing Light doesn't work so good, or as well as you would like it to. But yeah, not a competitive list, but it can do okay in ranked. It can definitely win some, lose some, and when it goes off, it's pretty fun. So that's what we're here to do. Have some fun, play decks that don't see a ton of play, and yeah, fun on getting the Dalakos, giving Dalakos a chance to shine, hopefully. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Till next time, make sure you jank with